my family, like as in mine, has different opinions about COVID-19, and it's tearing us apart. Some of us wear masks everywhere we go, and some of us choose not to, right? And some of us take social distancing to the extreme, like we don't leave our house. And then some of us are okay with the 6 feet apart rule. And then some of us think it's silly and we just hug and shake hands and all that stuff. But when it comes to making a decision for us to get together for like a family birthday or a holiday, like the 4th of July, for instance, or whatever, it's really tough because we all come into the situation with different mindsets. And it becomes this giant battle of who's right, what do we do? So I'm sure my family, Reggie, is not the only one dealing with this.
No, it's not.
I would imagine there are plenty of people struggling right now. What would you say is the first step for families who are dealing with this same issue?
Well, given that more than likely the person listening to this is the one that is trying their best to keep their family from allowing this to tear them apart.
Okay.
And we've been there, like we've had to deal with this ourselves. One thing is to call out the elephant in the room. Now, the elephant in the room is not the virus. The elephant in the room is really where family lies on family.
Okay.
And so you might be the one that asks the question and says, I don't want to let this virus or how we feel about it tear us apart.
Yeah.
Let's have that conversation. How do we stop from letting that happen? Like, and that kind of gets at least some of the focus on saying, putting the virus in the context of the family and not so much all these individuals and all the other issues that people are dealing with the virus, right? I mean, is it political? Is it health? Is it safety? Is it, whatever?
Yeah. Who really knows at this point, right?
Exactly. And it helps the family be bigger than the virus.
Oh, that's huge. I love that. So what you mentioned just a second ago was when you call the elephant out in the room, it takes it off of the individuals and puts it back on the family. But is there anything that family members as individuals should do to deal with any anger or resentment that may be, kind of stirring inside of them?
I think, in order for me to approach this subject with my family, I need to be emotionally and mentally kind of healthy myself, or at least know where I am as it relates to my own mental and emotional stability, right? Mm-hmm. And what do I mean by that? Am I operating out of fear? Yeah, is a question I have to ask myself, which might be because of different things that I've seen and experienced. Because if I do that, then guess what? If I'm not careful, I'm going to try to control others. I'm going to kind of try to control how others experience it or don't experience it. And if I don't know a single person that's dealt with COVID, then I might approach that a little differently. And so recognize where I come, how I get into this, and know that everyone has to be able to come to where they are themselves. And I've got to accept other people's choices, just like I want my choices accepted. Yeah, guess what? And I hate it. There's some risk with it. There really is. There's some risk with it. But at the same time, me and my wife have choices based on what we believe about the virus and what other family members have shown us they believe about the virus.
Right. That makes sense.
And that's a hard thing to do. So we've missed some things as a result.
Yeah. Do you feel like in those moments, I'm just curious about your experience, when you've said, no, we're not going to go to that function, or no, we're not going to, show up to this thing, have people respected your decision? How did that play out?
It's been all over the board, right? On one end, there is the let me try to talk you into it. And I'm sure other married couples have experienced this. Let me see if I can which one might be the weak one, right? Which one is a little more vulnerable or susceptible to have their mind changed? And so dealing with that. So for those of people that are married, there's that of making sure you're on one page. And we both have to really recognize our strengths and weaknesses. Guess what? I'm the one that's probably a little more likely to cave in.
Yeah.
And so as a result, I make sure I don't make decisions. Once me and my wife have made a decision, I don't change that without first talking with her. Right?
Yeah.
But the other part is why it's so important to be kind of emotionally and mentally healthy approaching it. If I'm looking to my family to validate who I am as a person, then I'm going to make decisions to feed into that.
Yeah.
Versus just kind of stepping back and having the thick skin and realizing that, they're not in my shoes.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. So a lot of it sounds like has to do with respect, asking for respect for yourself and then showing respect to others for where they are in the situation.
Yes. It's, we've all heard do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Right? Like, who hasn't heard that at some point in their lives?
Exactly. That's so true.
And now the struggle with that is sometimes if someone does to me, I say, well, I should do to them the way they did to me. I can't operate like that. This is difficult for everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember that people are operating sometimes out of different emotions, different fears, different anxieties, different baggages. We try our best not to take it personal. And look, family's important to a lot of us. And for me not to come might make a certain, a cousin or a brother or sister feel this way, like I don't respect family. And I have to just respect the way you're processing it. I might not agree with it. And in the midst of it, we are all handling and, dealing with, just like people deal with death differently. And I've got to give you the space to deal with it the way that you deal with it and try not to let that take that as a reflection of who I am. Yeah.
Man, that's really good, Reggie. That really puts things into perspective. The last thought that I had, just kind of wrapping up this conversation, is, this too shall pass. There's posters all over our city that say this too shall pass. And for families who are struggling with this right now, when COVID is over, because it will be eventually, who knows when, but it will be, right? So when it is past, you have to think about how you're treating each other now so that it doesn't affect your relationship in the future.
Yeah, you do, which is one reason I want to encourage people, figure out a way to look for ways now to show that you care about one another and to get some of the attention off of what we can't do.
Yeah.
And to take some time and think about what we can do. I firmly believe there's going to be a lot of hopefully forgiveness after this. Yeah. Because, people have said things that just weren't, that were in the heat of the moment. And that's okay. Like, forgiveness is a good thing. Some tough, conversation on the back end, like, wow, I see differently when this is all said and done. But that's why if we can just somehow continue to remember family is bigger than the virus, then when the virus passes, whatever that looks like, we do all that we can to make sure family's still there.